All right, guys. I am by no means an expert in this stuff, so welcome Ali Gilbert. She is an expert when it comes to damn near health. And like you said, like you put things really easily for the public. And I hit my head a few times when I was younger, so now the doctors say I can't read so good. So hopefully you can explain some stuff to me when it comes to the effects of poor grooming products and poor food habits on our body, not just in relations to physical attributes like skin illnesses and being sick, but hormonal, where it goes into your children and ingredients and chemicals that are penetrating the fetus, going past just the first order effect, but the second and third order effect. And I'm excited to learn more about it because I like making healthy things, but I like learning about the why behind it as well, even more than just reading it, talking to people, talking to experts and people that are actually in the industry helping people.
Well, thank you for having me. I was like, "Wait, when's the last time I saw you?" And that was in November
Yeah, November. Yeah,
of
it's been a
last
minute.
year.
Yeah, it has been a minute. And you look amazing. Your hair is like voluptuous. It looks like it's like 4 inches taller than the last time I saw you. It's amazing.
Well, I have, like, this clay pomade stuff I put in it that smells really good. Oh my god, you make it.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, we can just plug that real quick. Yeah, you're a Formula 49 fan. Yeah.
Dude, I am diehard. I don't know. How many years have I been using it? 3, 4,
I
like,
think going on
5?
4. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it's literally, like, the only thing in the deep of summer in Florida, I
Yeah.
might need some hairspray if I'm outside, but otherwise, literally, I've only used the clay pomade. And people are like, "How do you get your faux hawk to stay up?" I'm like, "Dude, this stuff, it's literally that's it,
Yeah.
and it doesn't like shrink by the end of the day. Like it's awesome."
Yeah,
So,
and it's wild that it's just so simple. I think we as humans we overcomplicate things just naturally, and grooming
mhm.
products are no different. We like to overcomplicate our regimes with our grooming routines and what products we use and the ingredients and blah 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 blah. But simple, just clay, just bentonite clay and
Yeah.
some oils and waxes. That's it. That's all you need.
Please don't ever discontinue it,
No,
like
no, no, no,
ever.
please. I mean, I would never discontinue anything for you anyway. Yeah, anything you want.
Yes. Oh, sweet. I love this special treatment. So everyone listening, sorry.
Oh shoot, yeah, I forgot about all that. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, Formula 49 is
Edit that.
you'll always have Formula 49. That has been like that was our third $1 million product. So it just it's not going anywhere.
What was the first product ever from the Johnny Six Slicks line?
Oil-based pomade. So, just briefly, because I don't want to go too much into the Johnny Slicks origins, because there's so many other videos on that. But my hair was thinning really bad because of all the chemicals that were in the grooming products I was using. I was using these cheap pomades and stuff, and my hair was going really bad. So I was like, well, I'm gonna make one myself. And oil-based pomade was the first creation I made. I started using it, and not but 6, 7, 8 weeks later, I started regrowing my hair that was thinning and dry and patchy and red, all the gross stuff on scalps. I had buildup of sebum oil, so it was damn near going to dandruff. And I'm not going to see a doctor because, pride in hair in men. I don't understand that. But so oil-based pomade was the first product I created to help solve my thinning hair issue. So yeah, that was the first one. And that was the first $1 million product as well.
See, I don't think a lot of people know that that actually helps hair thinning, so that's huge.
Yeah, yeah, and genetically wise, I don't have thinning hair, so I don't really have to worry about that. And as you know, like most people know, genetics are a massive factor in our health, like massive. Of course, there's things like what
Mhm.
we do and what we eat, our exercise, water intake, all of these other things, but genetics are a huge thing. And I didn't have any thinning hair issues, so really it was just purely product based. I wasn't eating poorly, I wasn't eating gross foods, fast food, none of that. It was just the grooming products I was using. They were so stocked of alcohols and chemicals that it was just my hair was stopped. It just stopped growing. So stopped using those, started using healthy things, organic things, natural things, and it just came back. It just like resolved itself. And that's when I was like, oh, I've got a solution. I bet you I can help other people too. Yeah, and it
See,
worked.
I didn't know that, so
Oh,
that's pretty
awesome.
cool.
Well, I'm glad that I can teach you something.
Even though I've known you guys for how long, I didn't know that. It's like when you're friends with somebody for so long, you don't even know what they do as an occupation, and it's just too late to actually ask
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
you're like, "Yeah, this is awkward," but hey, now I know. I tricked you into, like, giving me the
Yeah. Hey man, I'll
backstory.
tell you anything I want. I'm super transparent to a flaw. I tell too much.
Hey, we can go that direction too. I'm the same way.
So, so going off, you've seen the Johnny in the Aisle videos. We
Yep.
started really, and I'm not used to this type of marketing at all, where at the first point, it seemed like it was political to me because I'd be walking up and down the aisles, I'd pick up a product and I'd just start talking shit about it, kind of, and it wasn't really like unwarranted. These are products that are hurting people, Johnson Johnson and all of these companies that are making these big time products, selling it to people, and then that are causing illnesses. And then lo and behold, they have the cure ready for you. You just need to whip out your wallet. So I started going up and down the aisles and doing more research. And like you talked about, going on the EWG and looking at all those ingredients and what products are having them and which ones aren't, and blah, 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 blah. And I started diving into more and more. And it seems like the more I research, it's like I'm going down into like this rabbit hole, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm sure you feel that way as well when it comes to all the research coming out about hormones and how, I mean, I'll let you dive into it a little bit more, but if you please, on grooming products and how it's affecting our hormones, not just ours, but our children's as well.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because it's almost like, well, what's the low hanging fruit when it comes to salvaging men's testosterone, since that's the main hormone and we're talking about mostly guys. There's overwhelming amounts of things that are affecting guys' fertility and testosterone levels. And so it's almost like woo-woo to think that products that you use in your hair and your skin and all that are actually really going to have this huge detrimental effect. Same with, when we thought using BPA free water bottles was totally fine and everyone was so happy to have a Nalgene, and that was like what we had in college. And like, now everyone's carrying around like water bottles that are like this size and stuff. And it seems like super, super dorky, right?
Yeah.
And now I think people are realizing that there are toxic chemicals in the everyday products that we essentially grew up with. Like, I think everyone used Johnson Johnson's baby shampoo growing up.
Yeah.
And now like the things that are in these products are to promote a longer shelf life, are to stabilize the formulas, and they're cheap and they give it a certain texture and a smell and all of that. And what happens is they have things that are called phthalates and parabens and other chemicals in them that basically block our natural hormone production and also interfere with our natural hormone production. So they basically disguise themselves as fake estrogens.
Okay.
So they get absorbed through the skin, through our hair, stuff like that. And it can seem a little excessive that this is going to have such a huge effect on us, because I think a lot of people by now have seen the effects of BPA or heard about it and how you shouldn't touch receipts. And there's this joke, like you go to CVS and they give you like a freaking scarf and it's like, no. And like people, I used to talk about this in my lectures and people would be like, now I'm really weird. And I go to the grocery store and I like throw the receipt back in there, or I tell them I don't want a receipt and they look at me really strange and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, it seems stupid, but like if you've ever picked up a hot receipt right out of the machine, all of that is hot BPA chemical toxic soup that's going to affect you. It only makes sense that things that we're putting on our body every day, or maybe every other day, if you shower every other day, whatever, that's up to you. But like those types of products that you have lotions or, beard oils or like the pomade and stuff daily, that's going to have a compounding effect.
Yep.
If it's every once in a while that you drink out of like a plastic bottle or whatever, you're not going to die. It's totally fine. But if this is something that you're exposing yourself to on a daily basis, then yes, it could become a problem, especially if it's multiple ingredients in some of these products that you're putting on your skin every day. And the skin is our largest organ and it's super absorbent.
Yep. I know. Yeah. And unfortunately too, with men, we don't really treat our skin as best we should.
No.
Some women do as well, but most dudes like don't use loofahs. We don't, you know what I mean? We just like use some body wash, toss it on. So I had to put walnut shells in our body wash. Yeah. And
then there.
Yeah. And that's it. So I had to put
the
walnut
most hyperpermeable skin is the only place you guys touch.
Yep. That's it. Right. Yeah. The smelly places. And it doesn't really make sense that putting these chemicals and these emulsifiers and these preservatives, all of these things, and they're just getting stronger and stronger, more potent. We're putting it on our damaged skin. Most people have damaged skin just from the sun or the air around us, from scrubbing too hard in the shower, from maybe not scrubbing hard enough. We get buildup of oil on our skin, and it crystallizes, and all of a sudden we put on all these chemicals and stuff. We're coated in it, and then we go out in the sun and it cooks into our skin. I remember my entire childhood, sunscreen. Oh my gosh, we can go on a tangent of like another 3 hours on just sunscreen, I'm sure. But I would get coated in it. My parents would completely lather me in it, and I'd go home. I would still be burnt. And my mom and my dad would say, well, we just got to get a stronger one for next time. Go and find out. I'm 24 years old. Not now, but when I figured this out, 24. And I realized it's not sunburn. It's a chemical burn. I'm literally bubbling from the chemicals being cooked onto my skin. So I was going from like blood red to pure pale white. And it was so painful. I never knew. My parents didn't know. It was just ignorance. Nobody really knew about this. And now all of this stuff's coming out. And now we're realizing, oh shit, that's why that happened. Oh, it is a chemical burn. That's why. And then on top of that, all the hazardous materials, when you mix certain types of things together, you get certain types of responses. All elements affect each other like that. And when we stack chemicals and products and then coat it on our bodies in hot water in the shower, all of a sudden we're having these effects. We're breathing it in. It's going on our skin. Like you said, it's the largest organ. Like, that's how we're treating it. That's how we're going to treat it. And it's just baffling to me that it's just getting worse and worse. It really does seem like it's more hidden. It's becoming more hidden, like BPA things. It's becoming more hidden.
Yeah. We didn't know back then. Like they've actually banned certain sunscreens in Hawaii, but not because of the oxybenzone, which is the potent chemical that's very estrogenic. It's because it burns and bleaches the coral in Hawaii.
Yeah, it's really
it's not because
that's wild.
Yeah.
That's so
and
crazy.
it's so bad, and like we didn't know as kids, like you literally had to be lathered, and like now I don't use sunscreen, or if I have to, if I'm in like live in Florida, I don't get burnt like in the ways that you would think. Like mineral sunscreens and stuff maybe can be useful, but the stuff, you know, like with the baby's butt on the label, I forget. It's so outrageous because you never used to be able to find products that were like healthy or safe. And I remember when guys would ask me, like, what type of products do I get? And I'd have to actually look it up.
Yeah.
And it's funny because actually this weekend, I was thinking, I have to remember to say this. We were at Bedros' event and I forgot my pomade. So did one of my friends. And my best friend, I was like, well, I can just ask Nick. I'm sure he has some. And then one of my best friends who's been using the same pomade for years, he's like, no, I have mine. And I was like, like in what world would this happen like 10 years ago where you know somebody wouldn't have like the worst product ever on the planet? Like everyone actually has the same pomade from Johnny Slick. So I was laughing. I was like, lifesaver, because like I'm the only one that can share hair products with dudes, like when you have my type of hair. So it's funny because they ask me usually if they forget it, and then my friend Sam had it. So
I think because we didn't know that products were really as bad as they were, and maybe, I mean, I say we didn't know. There were some people that were making the products that probably knew the harms that were going into it. You know, there was a lot of money being made. I'm not speaking for them by any means, but we, as people that use the products, consumers, didn't really know the effects that it would have, like the coral reefs. That's a secondary effect. If it's ruining the reefs and making fish infertile, what is it doing to you when you put it straight out of the bottle right to your skin? So when these things are affecting, we didn't really know those things were happening. So we didn't know to be making healthy versions of them. So now we know all of them are bad. So now tons of people are coming out with solutions to not just the effects, but like how to not use a garbage pomade. Let's make a healthy pomade. How to not use a nasty body wash for $2 a gallon. Let's make a healthy body wash. So we're making these like alternatives to have that pendulum swing back to the other side to help people.
Which thank God you guys are, because and I think also just not realizing what's in these things is because it's not something that you will inherently feel, especially people who are not healthy people. Like people like you and I are a little more in tune with our bodies, and we kind of feel when something's off. But a lot of the times it's like supplements. Like you don't really feel anything happen. You know, it doesn't have this acute like effect, but over time it can with the compounding effect. And one of the things that Nick and I have talked about with the taint thing that he brings up to you guys is men's taints are shortening. So why is that something that we need to be aware of? Well, there was a study done um, identifying something called phthalate syndrome. And a phthalate is one of those chemicals that is used in these things more so to create plastic containers, and it's a plasticizer and stuff, and it creates stability in the formulas. But phthalate syndrome on fetuses. So if I were pregnant with a boy, if I expose myself to phthalates, I could affect his sperm production as an adult, which seems
Wow.
super far-fetched
Yeah.
and super crazy, right? And
Yeah.
like when I say this, people are like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then they're like, well, how do I prevent that from happening? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like, I specialize in dudes. So like,
Yeah.
but to think that that can happen, and it feminizes the fetus. So now boys are born with a shorter taint, which is the distance from the scrotum to the anus. The scientific term is the anogenital distance. So anogenital, AG, Ali Gilbert. That's how you can remember it.
Got it.
My initials. Okay.
Yep. Got it.
So that's how you know the shortened taint
Yeah.
associated with me.
Okay.
But it's true. And then like, I tell guys on stage, I'm like, so you guys are gonna all go measure your taint instead of like, your fingers, see how big your dick is. But that is like reflective of how much testosterone exposure they've had in the womb.
Yeah.
If they've been exposed to these chemicals, then they have shorter taints. That affects sperm production. That affects the amount of testosterone in their bodies, which is going to have an effect of them showing up as a man in the world.
Yep.
And then God forbid I say that this plays into some of the gender dysphoria and stuff that we're experiencing a lot of now.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree. And we talked about it just briefly, Nick and I, yesterday for one of his podcasts that will be coming out here soon too. But you can almost look at, and I'm not going to make it weird because it is really about kids. You go to an elementary school and you look at some 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, like right when puberty is supposed to be going, happening. And there's boys that look like they're 10 and girls that look like they're like 17. And these boys, they're like, they go through up, even if you go to high school and you look at some high school boys from now, and then look at high school boys from 1970, like there is a blatant, obvious change. There was something that happened between now and then, and it seems unbelievable because it's not natural. It's unnatural what's happening. And it's just disgusting that it's slow. It's a slow bleed, and that's really the worst type of injury that you can have. And the fact that it's happening to your kid, like somebody that didn't even ask to do any of that at all, it's insane to me. It's nuts. Wow.
I can't imagine, like, you wouldn't want to leave the house if you're pregnant. At least I would be. I don't think that paranoid, but it's almost like there is no way to control it. Nobody has provided a protocol or, something that you can put yourself through to be able to like detox of this. There are things out there that you can use, but honestly, no one's come up with like, yep, this is the solution to be able to do this when you're exposed to this, because it's so hard to determine, because there really is no avoiding it.
Yeah.
If a baby's born in a hospital, they're put on a plastic tube right away. Like they're already, exposed to these chemicals. And when going back to like the plastic and the BPA, like we were all taught BPA is bad. Cool. Well, if it says BPA free and it's plastic, it's BPA free. It might not be BPF free or BPA some other letter free.
The new update.
And in the 30s, like they actually in the 30s, they were going to use BPA as birth control for women.
Wow.
They tested it on 10 million women in the 30s. Nuts.
That's nuts as birth control. And it was a normal. Wow. Yeah. It's the things we learn about. And then you, not jumping topics too much, but we did the same thing with Freon and how it affects the gases of the earth. We just make things out of convenience, out of whatever. We just make them, and then we let our kids deal with the problems instead of trying to figure it out in the right way now. Yeah, let's make BPA, let's make BPF2. It's healthier, it's nicer. And then 10 years, 15 years from now, all these people are conducting these researches, and we're finding out all these skin diseases that are popping up are from that. We're like, oops, sorry, here's the cure. 50 grand. Like, oh, what's that? We looked up the cancer treatment yearly, right?
Yeah, it was as of, I think it was, as I was reading more, it was as of 2019, it was $308 billion for chemo.
God, for chemo. Oh my gosh. And then we were looking
Dude.
at Johnson Johnson, 40% of their revenue is from chemo of skin cancer as from their product. That's nuts. It's crazy. It seems to be money oriented and then knowledge based. It's how we're fighting against it.
Surprisingly, and a lot of the parabens are associated with breast cancer.
Wow. Yeah. And deodorants and all of these things. And we're putting them like, the glands where you put your deodorant, where all these places that are really sensitive and really absorbent seem to be where we put the most chemicals, or at least we're told to buy these products and lather the butane and the propane and all of these gases that are in products right into your glands. And then we're like, well, I don't know
Dude.
why I feel sick. I don't know why.
Yeah. I know doctors that, like, if a woman has had breast cancer or is going through it, the first question is, do you use aluminum deodorant?
Wow. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Because of the association. Like, I don't know. If people are switching to natural deodorant, like, it is a process. I mean, you're going to stink for a while, but then I go without deodorant most days now because my body is now adjusted.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
And
Yeah.
if I do stink one day, I'm like, oh, I'll throw some, something natural on. But
Yeah.
if you're using like the really heavy chemical stuff and then you come off of it, there is like a detox that goes through. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've done that yet, but like it's really bad BO for a while and you have to reapply like 10 times and then your body gets
I'm actually
healthy.
doing it now. I'm turning 30, and the more I talk to more dudes around 30, I realize that, some bodies change, that every 7-year type thing. Well, around 30, I didn't know this. So I started stinking naturally. So I was like, well, shit, man, I'm just going to bail on deodorant in general. I'll just knock 2 birds at one stone. Everybody in the company appreciates it. They all love me when I come around because I just smell so great. But everyone used to ask me why I don't make deodorant. And the more research I did, the more I realized that deodorant is not natural for humans to wear. It's an unnatural thing, which is why it's so difficult to make an organic product for it, because it does an inorganic thing. And it is natural to sweat there. It's very natural. It's unnatural to stop the sweat from there. You know what I mean? So like, it makes sense to
I
bail.
asked Nick that.
Yeah.
I was like, when are you guys making deodorant? He was like, ask Johnny. And I was like, okay, this is a thing, so I'm not going to ask him.
I go live, and without a doubt, every time I go live, somebody at least in the first 5 minutes is, when is deodorant coming out? When is deodorant coming out? Oh man.
I mean, it is a good thing because I think it's like you feel like you're loyal to the product. And then I honestly feel like I'm cheating on you guys when I have to use another company for deodorant.
I get
Like,
it. I really do.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost like I'd rather have the stack.
Yeah.
And
No,
then
I mean,
it's
my
like-
dream would have in the entire American household, every American household covered in Johnny Slicks, like washer and dryer. So like everything is Johnny Slicks. However, that's just very difficult to do. I'll get to it eventually, I'm sure. But yeah, deodorant has just always been such a challenge for me. And people ask all the time, what can I use instead of these chemicals? And since deodorant is so hard, I came to it where if you can't pronounce the ingredient, if it's a color or if it has like 26 plus letters, like bail on it. Colors, can't pronounce, and anything with alcohol, I just bail on. So it doesn't really have to be. And like you said, like, it's really difficult to avoid everything that's going to harm you, like to a T. You just can't. That's not realistic. But realistic is being able to pick up a product and be able to read everything on it and not have to, squint to look at it or.
Totally.
Yeah.
And men do well with structure and instruction. So when they're like, okay, this is like really fucking overwhelming, where do I start? And I say, don't worry about your exposure in every realm of the sense of like, all the estrogens coming at you. Let's think of the top 3 things that you can do tomorrow.
Nice.
Number 1 is always switch out your products that you're using daily to something such as Johnny Slicks, because that immediately can make a difference.
Yep.
Shameless plug, right?
And you can feel the difference. And I say it too, and I didn't mean to cut you off too much, but like when you switch away from these chemicals, it's almost really like peeling plastic off your skin. You're like, oh shit, I can feel my scalp again. My hair moves when I shake my head again. And these are things that, you know what I mean? Like you can feel, you're breaking free from that plastic that you're just coating yourself in. And it has that compounding effect. and
It does,
you have
yeah.
to peel it
And then
off.
it's almost like, like if someone's wanting to start a new diet or workout,
Yep.
so the time's going to pass anyway. So every day that you start using these newer products, then that's another day under your belt that you can mark off, and
Yep.
that you're closer to being healthier.
Yeah, and every single day is progress towards that, as long as you just keep doing it. That's it. It's just that simple. And you're gonna stink for a minute, but shoot, man, you're gonna live longer and not in pain.
I mean, as introverted and antisocial people are these
Yeah.
days, it'll just help repel people.
Yeah, right. Use that as an incentive. Don't fear
totally.
death, just fear people. Don't go outside. Yeah.
And then like the second thing I would say is to switch out any Tupperware that you have that's plastic for glass,
hmm
which is quite easy to do nowadays. They sell, like at Costco, they have, a huge package of all different sizes of glass containers. Don't microwave shit that is in plastic.
Yeah.
Don't use plastic water bottles. And especially, it's still hot here in Florida, but if you guys are in a warm climate and you happen to be using a plastic bottle because you're traveling or whatever, and it's in a hot car or in a hot area, do not drink it, because the plastic from the estrogens in there seeping into the water. And then the third thing was what was the third thing? Oh yeah, the water bottles. So
Yeah.
the plastic with the glass containers, but then also the water bottles, stainless steel or glass. I would say stainless
Yep.
steel. So it's, if you're like me and you break shit a lot, then you're not
Yeah.
really going to break it.
Yeah.
But invest in that, and it's obviously reusable, and it's just a lot safer, and
Yeah.
it keeps things colder too.
Yeah, and it just makes sense. Like, I don't understand why we just carry around. And granted, I have a water bottle I'm drinking here because I don't have anything else, But
Same.
like people, and I grew up. I used to drink, like, you go fishing, right, and you just have a hot water bottle in the car and you just drink it. You got done playing soccer with the family, and you go to your car and drink what? What's the harm, right? And it just seems so normal and so natural because everybody was doing it. Well, now everybody feels pain and constantly has headaches, and we're like, I don't know why. It's because the water bottles are being. You might as well eat the plastic. You might as well. It's being absorbed through your gums. It's being, like, you know what I mean? And I actually did learn too, hot water and cold. So there's things where if you put water bottles in ice and it freezes, when it defrosts, it's pulling some of the plastics into the water just the same that it does hot. So if you freeze water bottles, it can still have that effect, which is odd, but it is true. You would think the molecules would get too close or something, but yeah, it is true. So I stopped freezing them.
That's interesting. And now, like, since moving to Florida 2 years ago, I've thought, because I get the grocery delivery and Instacart, and I admit, like, I love Gatorade Zero, so I'll drink Gatorade Zero.
Yeah.
And when they drop it off and they leave it in the garage and it's hot, I like freak out, and I'm like, that can't stay in the garage. Like, it has to go in the fridge right away because it's just sitting there in plastic. And I'm like,
Yep.
God knows what's melting into that,
Yeah. And like on top of that too, we see the final product, but think about, I always ask, where was this made and what is it made out of? That's it.
Yeah.
Where was this made? So was this made in Pakistan, and 3 years ago it was bottled up and shipped over here on a big Connex in the ocean, got lost for a month? Like, these things have been cooking in God knows what, pallets of water bottles stuck going way back on Puerto Rico, right? During that hurricane, they were just stuck there. They were just cooked. And I'm sure those waters got drank, because why wouldn't they, right? Like,
doesn't the Fiji water come from Fiji? That's a long way.
That's a far way. Yeah. And then we wonder why, like, oh, well, why do you think they put so many preservatives and chemicals? That's why. They want to make one massive batch of 1 million of these and keep them for 3 years, have inventory for 3 years. And that's what they're doing. They're making these products and then, make one big stock, sell out of it. It caused an illness, sell the cure, come out with BPF and BPM. All these different types, sell the cure. It's just a constant. So getting glass, we did that as well. And I do break things. So I do hear you on the stainless steel, because I'm very clumsy. Like I said, I got knocked on the head a little bit too much as a kid, so I can't read so good. But glass Tupperwares, and then I use a Yeti, but a lot of people have other metal type of cups, and those are just amazing.
Yeah. And people sometimes they'll say, like, oh, it's expensive, and I'm like, okay, how many times have you lost your plastic Tupperware top and all that stuff? Like, you don't really lose the glass ones that easily.
You know what's expensive? Chemo. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's
How
expensive?
about that?
Fucking hospital bills and death. Yeah. I think a nice glass Tupperware is very cheap comparatively.
Yeah, dying's bad for performance. Like we don't want that.
It's bad for everyone. Everyone around you. Do everyone around you. You know, if you don't care about yourself, cool, whatever. Do this for the people around you. Do it for your family.
Yeah.
Do it for your kids. Do it for like everybody that's literally dealing with you not caring about yourself. Just make the changes. It just, you feel the difference and then you live the difference and then you encourage other people to do the same. And like ships on, you know, an ocean.
Dude, with the guys, I'm like, listen, do you want your dick to work or do you want to just keep buying pot?
Yo, that's a go. And dudes need to hear that too. That's great.
Yeah.
I like that. What other ones do you have like that? Do you want your dick to work?
Literally everything. Associate everything that you need them to do with their dick working, and then it motivates them. Because like cardio is a big one. Nobody wants to do aerobic work. And I'm like, listen, if we can get blood flow, then we get blood flow everywhere. And guess what that does? It makes a really strong boner.
Yeah.
So let's get our aerobic work in, because I promise your muscles won't fall off and you won't look skinny fat, and it'll just make your erections that much better. And they're like, oh, I'm
30
in.
minutes. 15 to 30 minutes in the morning. Yeah. Get that
Yeah,
cortisol
that's it.
down.
That's all
get
you
blood
need.
flow going. Hydrate, obviously. That has a lot to do with blood flow. A lot of people don't hydrate, and I think that's a massive issue. That's a and we can go a whole another hour on that, but people need to be hydrating, drinking water.
It's not that hard to wake up and drink water. Like I get it. And I hate water. Like in my plastic bottle here, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
In my plastic bottle, I have electrolytes.
Yeah.
It makes it taste better.
Yeah.
It's sweetened with stevia. Like it's just more palatable to pound water in the morning when it's flavored.
Yeah.
So I get it. If you don't like water, that's fine, but that's not an excuse. Still have to literally, it's the easiest thing. Like we're not asking you to cold plunge like Nick.
Yeah.
We're literally asking you to drink something.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really do think, I don't know, I was talking to my wife, Rebecca, about it a few days ago. I think taste buds like ruined. I don't know what taste buds were for in the evolutionary trait, but I don't think they're helping us, because most people are like, I don't like the taste of water. It's like, yo, I think your body does. I don't think you do, but I think your body needs it. So somewhere along the line, we're like, and I'm the same. I need water with a little bit of cucumber lime, like just a little bit of something, because my taste buds are just going to be like, nah, you don't need water. Next thing I know, I'm having a headache and fatigued. I don't feel like doing anything. And I'm just like dehydrated and gross, and I can't sleep well. And just because I don't like the taste of water, like put that shit to the side and just drink water.
But isn't that weird? It's like the simplest thing, but then we're like, oh my God, we're dehydrated. We must have like this ailment. We need to take this supplement and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, nah, bro, you just need to drink.
Yeah, that's the thing about brain fog and cognitive behavior. When it's a problem, you can't think about how it's a problem because it's blocked. So like if you have brain fog, it might not be you're dying. It might just be get a cup of water. It might just be that simple. Do some cardio.
You need a little salt. That's it.
Yeah, true.
You know?
Yeah. That's what that Gatorade is.
It's funny.
For. Yeah, zero sugar Gatorade.
I love Gatorade. Oh, God, I love Gatorade Zero, the white one, the glacier cherry. It's like, so good.
Yeah, it's fruit punch. I have that one on my bedside. That's a great midnight, like, reflush. Oh, my gosh, yeah. We're like plugging this company. I don't know if you know this. Back in the day, they actually bought, I'm switching, we're talking nice about them. I'm going to talk shit. Years ago, they paid scientists to reveal data that said Gatorade was better than water. And they used that as marketing to sell Gatorade, and it worked. And like, I think Happy Gilmore made fun of it. There were so many movies that made fun of this, but it was a real, actual thing that happened with Gatorade. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't, but they like literally are the household name. Like they're like Nike. Yeah, they've been around forever. If you think of hydration, you think of Gatorade. Like the ratios that they have in the electrolytes, you know, and the sugar ones, like I know everyone demonizes sugar, but like there are times where you need sugar to rehydrate. If you're an athlete,
you're talking about an athlete, you need that. You need that. Yeah, 100%. You remember the movie Idiocracy? Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
Okay, they made a joke in there where they said it was called Brando or something like that, but they were essentially making fun of Gatorade for doing that. They said it's what plants crave, and the world was going to shit because they were watering all the plants with Gatorade because they were told Gatorade was better, or Brando in the movie was better than water, and they were wondering why nothing was growing. So this guy who was like frozen in time woke up in that time and was like, yo, just use water. And they were like, what? They even had like Gatorade in their toilets, out of water fountains, everything. They just replaced water with Gatorade. And it's essentially making fun of that true thing that happened. But yeah, you definitely need it. And like sugar is good, when you need it. Just like anything else, it could be used or abused. And I think most people, when they think of sugar, like artificial sugars or anything, they just strictly think of abusive. But just like anything else, you can use it properly, you know, like you were saying with athletes.
There's like I love when people get on me for drinking things like Gatorade Zero and then they drink alcohol.
Oh my God.
And
Oh yeah. Right. Right.
you literally are comparing this to the most proven toxic toxic substance.
It's not only one of the most toxic, it serves like little to no purpose for what we socially use it as, and our nation worships it. Actually, not just our nation. Shit, the world worships alcohol, beer, whiskey, any type of alcohol. It's seen as, if you don't drink, you're an outcast. You're a weirdo for not doing that. It's wild to me. It's just sugar right to your body. They get these beer guts, you know, and then, oh my gosh. Yeah, but you know, Gatorade Zero
people
is
really
the killer.
They get offended and it's like the reaction, you know, they're like, they think that either I'm sober or something else. I'm like, I like choosing not to drink is this weird thing. Like, how could it be that, you know?
Yeah, it serves no purpose. Just like some people choose not to wear flip-flops. They choose to wear only shoes or choose not to wear socks. It doesn't matter what it is. It's preference, but it doesn't serve me a purpose. It doesn't serve you a purpose. People who are pursuing passion and success and want to grow from their days don't drink and go numb. They try to solve the things that are hurting instead of just, you know, I don't want to deal with this. I'm going to go numb for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, and it makes me feel like shit. And you can't sleep, and it disrupts your sleep.
Everything. Yeah. Yeah, you can't go into deep sleep, right? If you're, there's so many things. Yet, if you don't drink, you're weird. Yeah.
I've always been weird, so I don't mind being weird. I talk about boners.
You're weird?
That's weird.
Nah, that's not weird. See, I love that though, because you're helping people, and that's what, like, we can cut down to the bullshit. That's what people care about. Like, sex sells, but sex also motivates more than anything. Throughout history, our ancestors knew that. They, like, there's Greek statues, you know, there's all these things of nude and sex. Like, that's what motivates us to make changes in our life. That's the nail when it becomes too painful, we have to move. Sex. So when you're talking about boners, it works.
Yeah, that's why it's like you literally associate everything a guy needs to do with his dick. Because it's literally single focus.
This is how you coach men. You are right.
It's my secret. It's my secret to coaching guys. It's not that long a lecture. Just associate it with, you know, talk and we're done.
But in reality, though, that is true. Like, if you're saying you're talking about blood, like, let's go to like, hey, my dick won't work, right? And like, not getting too personal, but from the military and trauma, I've had a lot of trauma. I do deal with a form of ED. It's not easy to deal with those things. So like, talking about, okay, you can take a medicine for that, sure. But what's the root cause? Could it be just blood flow? Could it maybe just be doing some extra cardio and hydrating and stop eating McDonald's at 5 a.m? Like, could that be the solution? And it's not, you have this massive problem. It's just maybe you make a few changes. That's it. Drink more water, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
guys don't know that. They usually associate it with testosterone alone. And then they associate, well, if it does work, their testosterone must be fine. But on, you know, the other side, like if they do experience ED, they think, oh, it must be low T, when like in your case, you know, they don't understand that if you've had trauma in the past or any type of PTSD, a TBI, like anything that is stressful. So that really affects sex drive and erection quality and strength. But yeah, blood flow, like if you smoke or if you're like constricting, you know, your veins or anything in any way because of poor health, then yeah, you're not going to get blood to flow in the places that you need it to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So being in poor health, yeah, that's going to affect it.
When I was 11, one of my testicles fell out of its sac. It left home. I was skateboarding, got cut, nicked, hanging down.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I had to call. So like, that's some trauma I dealt with. Obviously the Marine Corps has trauma, and like TBIs and those type of things have a lot to do with it. But obviously I had a testicular injury. So like that had to do with it too. And I was right before going into puberty. So I'm sure that had a huge factor to do with it.
Oh
yeah.
Well, yeah, when you have testicular trauma, that's called primary hypogonadism. Very, very hard to rectify without going on testosterone replacement, because literally, like, your balls died.
Yeah,
Like they have trauma.
I think
You know?
my test score is like 300 or 320 or something like that. And I was 24 when I got on test
Yeah,
originally. Yeah.
that's crazy. That's the average for guys now.
Oh man, that's so
But
sad. I was so
dude,
depressed.
in the 80s it was like 500, in the 90s it was like, going 400 or whatever. In the 2000s guys are coming up in like the 300s, and they just kept lowering that range and stuff. And I know that's like
Yeah.
a tangent, but
They started making grading curves for what's normal, but I tell you, at 300, me at 24, 300, I was like, I mean, I was damn near depressed and suicidal. I didn't want to do anything.
oh yeah,
I got
I don't
fat.
blame you.
Yeah, nothing motivated me. I had no fire in here at all. It was gone. It was weird.
And you probably were handed like SSRIs and
Oh yeah,
other.
yeah. I got the whole pack. I got everything when I got out of the VA, and luckily I had a lot of people around me that were like, "Yo, come on, man." Yeah. Also, the VA, I had surgery. I had knee surgery, like ACL, MCL replacement, all that, and meniscus. And they gave me like 13 different pills, and they didn't tell. I was 19 when I got this done, and they didn't tell Rebecca how to give them to me. So she just gave me all of them. I took all the nausea medications. I took all the oxys. I took everything. I didn't know you were supposed to take them when something feels bad. Like, so I was on all that stuff. After that incident, I'm like, I don't really trust when I just get a bag, like a goodie bag of pills. Like, let me carry them out in one hand. You know what I mean? I got a goodie bag. I'm not taking this. So yeah, I bailed off that. And now I'm with Core, and they've been a lifesaver. Now I have fire in here. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love stories like that. That's my favorite, literally.
Yeah. And it all happens just from the transparency. And luckily, because of you and who you are, you're able to just say, hey, do you want your dick to work still? You want bigger balls?
Yeah.
And like, you break through that, I'm a little awkward. I'm a little nervous. Like, let's get straight to the point here. Because that's the root. That's what's causing it. Let's just talk about that, and it works. It worked for me. I'm just talking about it.
Exactly. Like, people are like, how do you bring that up? I'm like, you just bring it up.
You just bring it up. Like, you want to tiptoe around it for 30 minutes and then bring it up really softly, or do you just want to solve the issue? Like, because it's not,
especially,
and this isn't something that I'm the only one in life that's dealing with this. You're the only one in life that's dealing, like, you know how many people are dealing with this stuff and quietly?
Guys don't know that, though, especially if they're younger. They don't know that. And that's why bringing it up directly. Because also, like, if you're trying to be cryptic, that's hard to follow. I mean, I don't follow when people are cryptic. I miss it. I'm like, whoosh, I don't know what you're alluding to. I have no idea what the fuck you're trying to say.
Yeah.
But if you don't say it directly to me, I don't get it.
Yeah.
So that's why in my nature, I just say it, because I feel like I don't want people to have to guess what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I just want to come out and be direct with them. And, I commend you for your transparency, because so many guys think, oh shit, I'm too young for this to happen. Oh, I'm unique in the sense that, like, I don't think that this happens to other guys, especially my age, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then the more they talk about it and realize that there's other dudes like them, then it's really life-changing for them, because there's like a solution.
It really is. And it's just talking. It's just talking to people. Since like 14 to, I would say like 25, 26, I dealt with a really bad back acne. I had cystic back acne all over the back of my head, my neck. I have scar tissue now and everything. And it wasn't, I was super embarrassed. I never took my shirt off. Never, not once. I was super embarrassed of it. I was down in Boca, and I talked with Mel Chansey, and he just mentioned, have you ever heard of Accutane? And granted, I'm not by any means plugging Accutane, because like there were a lot of things, like I damn near got suicidal depression just from that. I was on it for a year. But just talking about my back acne rose a solution. Just talking about it, push away that embarrassment. Like, dude, you're not the only one dealing with this, and you're not broken. You're a normal motherfucker. Let's talk to other normal motherfuckers and get this solved, because somebody had what you got going on and found the solution, and it's right there. All you gotta do is ask and talk about it. So like, yeah, talking cryptic is like, are you solving things that way, or are you like alluring to more problems now? So yeah, I definitely I appreciate your directness. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you. I think that's why, like, you and Nick and me and Nick get along well, because it's like you could separate business and friendship because you're just trying to communicate effectively.
Humans. We're human beings. Like, what I call work and what I call home and fun is what I call it. But like, at the end of the day, I'm a human being. You're a human being. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing really that crazy and different about that. Like, so
just be real.
Yeah, thank you. I know you got to go here soon, and I appreciate all of your time and insight.
For sure.
Yeah. And
So
hopefully,
I hope everybody
yeah.
goes and buys the pomade because they want their faux hawk to look just like this.
Yes, Formula 49 clay-based pomade. It is made with bentonite clay, so it is super healthy for your hair and skin. But please, like, listen to Ali and make those changes because they really are simple changes, and they might be overwhelming, but trust me, it's not. It's not.
It's not.
It's simple, but not easy. Like the switching a process of any type of way, change is always, you're always going to have stress, but trust me, it is worth it. I have never felt so happy and so clear-minded in my life just from making these changes. And like you said, pick the top three. Three things that are, Tupperwares, plastic bottles. Pick the 3 things that are harming you probably the most, not the most expensive, harming your body the most, and just make the change. When you got those done, pick the next 3. It's not that crazy. Don't complicate it.
No, it doesn't have to be everything at once.
Yeah. And then hopefully, you'll feel the change, and then your friends will ask, "What, man? What happened? Why does your skin look like that? You look so happy. You're
glowing."
Yeah. You're like, oh, easy, man. Check out this link. Costco Tupperware containers. Yeah.
You have a raging boner.
I was hoping you were gonna say something like that. Yeah. Yeah, man. Hey, man, you've had a boner every day at this meeting. What's going on? Oh, check it out. Yeah, man. If you want that, make these changes. Yeah. Well, Ali, I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything and being so direct and honest and helping so many people because you really are making an impact. And I personally appreciate you.
Awesome. You're the best. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.